the major challenges are on the economy side is the falling Canadian dollar. That certainly has given both opportunities and threats to our industry. If, as a Canadian consulting company, if we wanted to look at the big market to the south of us, that's a huge opportunity. 60-cent dollars leads to making us very competitive to pursue work in the United States. Canada has a lot of experience in the P3 design build market, and taking that experience to the south is a real market opportunity. And with a lot of the contractors that we team with, that would be a real something that's very viable. I think at the same time, we're looking at the oil and gas. That has had a major impact obviously on the Alberta economy. I think that the repercussions of that are still to be seen. We will see I think land development is going to have a huge negative impact on that, and particularly in Alberta, but it'll overflow as well into other parts of Canada, as Albertans have certainly and historically invested a lot of money outside of Alberta. On the federal government spending initiatives, I think the new Liberal federal government it will be a positive for our industry. They've obviously, one of their major platforms was Build Canada. Again, the major infrastructure spending, which is needed. So assuming that those funds are released in a timely manner, we will see continued significant infrastructure spending. And for municipal governments, we currently are seeing a big increase in municipal work, particularly in Alberta, but also in British Columbia. The major transportation projects, we're seeing significant volume of work coming out in major P3 design build projects. It's really almost a tsunami of P3 projects out in the marketplace from all across Canada. So currently, I think we're involved in 9 major pursuits in Western Canada at this point in time. China is, even though there's a significant talk about the Chinese economy slowing, I think you have to continue to realize that the Chinese economy is massive, and growth is a factor, is calculated based on your denominator, and as the economy continues to grow, that denominator gets bigger and bigger, and so even though they say the rate of growth is slowing, it's still significant. But China, I think more importantly, is looking at going from a acquirer of services and resources to more self-sufficient, and now becoming an exporter of those services and really trying to build up their service economy, which has a huge impact on the rest of the world. We will see China, I think, are becoming much more aggressive in the work that they're pursuing outside of China, and will probably have a dominant impact on that business. I think in the demographics, obviously got the varying age groups from the 20 to 25-year-olds, the 25 to 45s, the 45 to 65s, and then those over. It's changing, and the desires, the wants of the baby boomers are different from the millennials, and but it's not a bad thing. We certainly at McElhanney, we've got a very, I think, pretty good balance across all demographics with our 1,000 people. But certainly what you have to ensure is that they're engaged. They understand the why of the company. What is it that we're doing? Why are we doing it? Why are they coming to work every day? And part of it, of course, is the exciting projects that we get to work on. And I think that transcends all ages. If you got an exciting opportunity and something you can say, hey, I was part of that, that's really cool. But at the same time, you have to do more. You have to support the communities you work in. We're in 26 communities across Western Canada, and being part of those communities, supporting those communities, doing things beyond just your day-to-day job is really important. And that's something I think successful companies are really focused on, and that helps keep engaged all levels of workforce. Climate change is, and again, now that I think there's greater recognition that there is real climate change, but I think that regulations haven't caught up to that consistently across all markets. And for instance, who is taking that risk of liability when a consultant or a contractor go to look at a specific lot, or they're paid typically just to look at what's influencing that lot. But I think you have to step back and say, well, what's the influence if that's on the hillside? What's happening up the hill? Or if you're on the bank of a river, well, what's happening upriver? And there's, particularly as you get into the P3 projects and now all of a sudden you got a 30-year time horizon, who's taking the risk of liability if those climate change is significant? If the sea levels rise by meters, what does that do to all the dikes? Who's taking that risk and exposure? If there is that big tsunami or there is a major earthquake and there's billions of dollars of damage, well, you have to assume that the insurance companies are going to be looking to share the risk that they've taken on, and they will be investigating to see who maybe should have considered other aspects. And as an industry, it's not the consultants on individual projects just can't be doing that. And I think there has to be much higher level of clarity in standards or regulations to take that risk or put the risk where it should be or distribute that risk so that everyone's working from a common understanding. Technologies are forever changing, and IT was one little component of service that you had inside to now becoming a key strategic component of your business. Acquiring, managing, securing, accessing data is huge, and as a company, we're investing a lot of money, continuing to invest a lot of money in our systems. I think Ryan Tones from Kiewit said earlier today that some of the projects they're working on, the number of surveyors that they used to have has shrunk dramatically because of technology and the equipment that are LiDAR or GIS controlled. So it has a big impact on business. On many of our projects, we're now out there in the field collecting data, uploading that data every night to the cloud. It then updates designs and drawings automatically, and clients have access to them within 24 hours, which used to be 100 years ago when we started, that would take a year to that to happen. So it's having a huge impact. At the same time, being able to filter through all the data you're now acquiring is huge, and it's going to be interesting to see what technologies do come out in the future, and how are we going to be able to manage all that data that we collect from them.